Boom. You go. I caught ya.
Hey everybody. So welcome to Project Stamina's first live stream. I am Mr. Fancy Pants. Hi. And that needs to get muted. One moment. Hey everybody.
Way to go. Way to go.
Yeah. Okay, so we are so excited to see you here today. I'm here with Failco and Trinatus. Failco is our art director. Trinatus is our lead map designer and general manager. Kind of keeps everybody sane. And we are so freaking delighted to see you all here, excited to learn more about Project Stamina. So I'm trying to keep up with chat, and everybody else is well. Oh, thank you so much. I like this beard too. I grew it myself. Yeah, so we are really excited to share all of our progress with you, so you understand how this is going to go down. I am here talking with you guys and keeping an eye on the chat. I will be playing the game, but you will be seeing Trinatus. He's managing the stream on the back end because it is his job to keep everybody sane. As I said, he's going to be managing the stream, and it will be his gameplay that you are watching. So that's that. We're going to get into the game in a little bit. And before we do that, I just want to say hi to you all. Say thank you so much for being here. We're going to go through some questions that the community has submitted and do some responses to live chat questions, because that's like what Twitch is for, right? So, hi, Dad, says Der Wandering Jew. One more time, I just have to extend my appreciation for how great this team is and how hard everybody has worked. It's really been incredible. Yeah, we've got some really great developments coming up. I guess I'm just going to kick this off with ranked matchmaking questions. And Failco, Trin, if you see any really awesome questions in the chat, please just interrupt me and call them out. So question number one that we received was, will there be ranked matchmaking in Project Stamina? Yes. Yes, we have a system with a lot of the tools for tracking win-loss rates by accounts and pairing people based on their performance in matches existing. But because we're so early in development, we aren't messing around with those tools yet, because there's not much of a point when we wipe everybody's account information when we run out new builds. So it's there. We will be working on it as we reach another milestone. It's just kind of sitting there waiting to get worked on. Hey, welcome to the sweetest tart. You get a mod. So yeah, we're gonna have ranked. We're hoping for a really cool system that integrates matchmaking with other account progress, progression, and tie that into the lore some more. But that's stuff that I'm not allowed to talk about lore very much, unfortunately. We have a lawyer because we're trying to build a real thing, has asked me to not share very many details about our lore, about the name of the game. We are still going through the trademark and copyright process for those things, and we need to protect our IP. So until that happens, and until we get that paperwork filed, lore information is going to be pretty limited. So that's a good question. Will the whole game be written with blueprints? Something that we've talked about, and there were a lot of questions about this, so I'll get back to this in a little while.
Final's got a pretty good question.
Cool, I'll get to that next. Will the game be written in blueprints? No. Blueprints are a really cool way for inexperienced game developers to figure out how to make the mechanics of a game work through a visual scripted system, which is really cool. And it's also really handy for like putting together templates for stuff for testing purposes, but they don't run very quickly, especially over a network. So we aren't using them for final implementation. But they are a tool that help us put together the pieces that then get translated into C++, which it's the best language for games, basically, which is why it's still the industry standard. So that's that. What was the question that you caught, Trinatus?
He's asking about merchandise.
Will we have merchandise? Yeah. We haven't put any out yet.
On it yet.
Yeah, I like merch from my favorite games. You are not the first person to ask about merch. We've got some ideas for stuff coming out, but we want to make sure that it's of superior quality before we try and sell anything to anyone, because buying stuff that sucks kind of sucks. So we're not going to make you do that. So expect merch in the future. We're going to make sure that it's really great first, and something that you actually want to have / put on your body / drink out of / cry yourself to sleep at night with, depending on what your deal is. I'm not here to judge. Yeah, so merch will be in the future. Not yet, but you'll see it when we... Hey, where'd my picture go?
It's coming back. I had to move something around.
All right. Let's see. There was another question. Is there anybody from the original design team working on Project Stamina? Not officially. This is another one of those legal situations. I am allowed to say that we have received consultation from people who worked on the original gigantic designs. I can't say in what area, and I can't say who. Some of these people, their contracts actually prohibit them from doing direct work on other stuff, or on other games, because they work in the industry, and there's all this legal protections and ownership of people's times and skills that we do not want the people who made the game that has inspired us to compromise themselves in any way. So we're not revealing anyone. You're gonna have to just trust me on this. Or not, and you can disbelieve me, but I like to live in a world where people trust each other, because it's nice, really. Can't or won't. How did I grow that amazing beard? I pushed it out of my face through raw force of will.
Oh.
Oh, God. Why?
Yeah, have you ever grated cheese? It's nothing like that.
Stealth, that's a good question. Stealth. What's your thoughts on stealth for characters? Are we going to have any stealth things?
Okay, so there are conflicting opinions on stealth. I believe that invisibility, if you're going to do invisibility should be actually invisible. The weird hazy shimmer on the screen that some games do, I've never been able to spot that. Some people with super expensive high-res monitors can spot that, and in a weird way, I feel like that's a sort of pay to win. If you have a nice enough monitor and your eyes are good enough, then you can see stealth characters just fine, whereas people who don't have incredibly fantastic vision and nice monitors can't. What I like in games like this for stealth is to have stealth detection be an ability that a character can use. So in League of Legends or Dota, you have wards that you drop, and then invisible characters are made visible, and you can tell that they are hiding, and then you murder them for being sneaky little bastards. So that's how I like it. And will this game be very mobile? And so that's how I feel about stealth. We've played around it. We've played around with some designs. It's something that we're kind of touching really gingerly, because stealth has the opportunity to become super degenerate, and degenerate gameplay sucks. So,
Well, that one that you were just about to answer is a really good one, too.
Will the game be very mobile? Characters having a ton of mobility? Yes. So we called ourselves Project Stamina as a constant reminder of the core mechanic that really won, at least me, a lot of people, but it certainly won me over. And the freedom of movement, the verticality, the powerful movement options that are managed with a resource was just unlike anything that I've ever played before, and that is at the core of the inspiration of our gameplay. Yeah. So invincible dodges, super jumping, like
iframe dodges, yeah.
Direct iframe dodges, directional movement in the air through jump attacks and mobility. We're going to be showing you some gameplay later, and you can kind of see what we mean when we say that we like mobility. Bunny hopping. Well, so bunny hopping is tricky because once you're in combat, you're burning your movement resource to do the jumping, and that means that it's like a really risky strategy because all of a sudden you're burning your ability to get out of a fight in the process of trying to get shot less. So I've never been a huge fan of bunny hopping in games. Like when I used to play Counter-Strike a little bit, when I got to the tier where people were just jumping all the time and playing so completely unlike what movement would be like if this were at all realistic, it got less fun. Will there be a guardian to kill? We like giant monsters. Giant monsters are cool. Fighting giant monsters is cool. Killing giant monsters makes you feel like a badass. We like giant monsters.
I think that says it all.
Yeah. Let's see. Have you guys contacted Shemi yet to give him hope for the future of multiplayer games? I'm not sure, actually. That is not my department. I sent a memo along for somebody else to reach out to him. I can get back to you on that in a future date. I just don't know. Can you be a giant monster? You can be whatever you believe. Light Dasher. Whatever you believe.
Crypticos has a question, which I think is a question that we'll be answering soon, so might as well do it now.
Open alpha tests. I mean, the answer to that is soon. We don't have an exact date yet, but I would imagine I'm aiming for probably midsummer this year, but there's a lot to happen between now and then. So this is my like hand wavy what I would like answer, not my we have a hard and fast. This is going like it's not an official announcement, but we would like to really open up our gameplay some more in the summer if we can hit all of our milestones, which we've been doing. It's been really amazing. The progress that this team has been making is fantastic. So fingers crossed, that's what things are looking like. What do you have an amount of characters that you're aiming for at release? That kind of depends on our production pipeline. We have a lot of characters that we want to make, and that, like the specific balancing of that roster and what we're trying to shoot for when we release is going to be a little bit more up to Goken and Trinatus, our gameplay design leads, than it will be up to me. I want as many like wild and interesting and unique, like uniquely playable characters as possible. And sidebar, define release. Like Street Fighter V is still in beta as far as I'm concerned. I shouldn't throw shade at other publishers. I'm sorry. Let's see. Do giant robots? Do you dig giant robots?
Do you have any professional experience? That's a good one. How big is your team, and how do we have any professional experience?
Yeah, that's a great question. So I started working in game dev in 2011. My first game was Halo Combat Evolved X. It was the HD remake of Halo 1. It was a really awesome project to be involved in because I got to see what it was like to both go through the process of building an entirely new game from the art assets and implementation side, and also through the process of making sure that a game's legacy was maintained. So, there were a lot of issues with making sure that everything came out the right color, making sure that like voice lines and sound effects were right, making sure that the new textures and the new art assets still had the same look and feel. And then I kept in game dev. I've worked with Disney Pixar. I worked on some more Halo titles. I've worked on a lot of the Xbox Live and Windows platform games. And so I've been in game dev for almost 10 years now. My team, because that wasn't just about me, that was everybody. The team is a really amazing mix of industry professionals and hobbyists and game dev students that, like, between everybody has a lot of really awesome skills and experience that they're bringing to the table. And we have enough professional experience in our management teams that people that are like less experienced members who have joined the team to contribute are getting not only like fantastic guidance and structure, but are also being exposed to the workings of a professional development environment, and getting to apply their professional quality skills in a context that isn't necessarily available to them just in school or through internships or hobby projects on their own. Does that answer your question? I forgot who asked it already. This chat is scrolling. So, Patrick, does that about cover it? And the team is, what was our last head count? 23?
Yeah, I think around 23, 24.
Yeah. It's really amazing having so many people who all have perspective and experience bring to the table. Let's see, what else do we have? Character archetype that I am really hoping to get into the game. That's a good question. All of them. I really like aggressive bruisery characters with a lot of mobility. We've already got one of those in there. That's one of my favorite things. And I also like really, I like just about anything that's really highly mobile or is like wildly durable and can just be kind of an in-your-face problem. And
right here's two good questions, Fancy.
Great.
Are you guys considering implementing more hard CC abilities?
Hard CC is something that we try to do with a light touch, because no matter how great a game is, getting stun locked is no fun. But it is an important skill test for a team to be able to deliver. So
yeah, we already have a one hard CC currently.
We do have a hard ultimate. CC on R4's ult, and we're going to do more of that. So like, don't expect getting stunned to death to be a common occurrence.
I wouldn't expect like getting stunned and then stunned right after you're stunned, and then let's say dazed after you're stunned and knocked back in a row.
Okay, so somebody specifically asked, what is stunned? Stunned is a state in which your character is unable to perform any action, including movement. It's no fun to get hit with, but it's super satisfying to hit the opponent with, so there's got to be some of that in there.
Let's see, platforms.
That is another reason that we are using Unreal 4. Epic Games has created an incredible engine that gives people the opportunity to, with relative ease, create cross-platform development opportunity, to do cross-platform development and cross-platform connectivity. Because we're using Unreal 4, we have access to the same tools that has allowed, and I know I'm saying the F word here, but it has allowed Fortnite to become such a pervasive game because of its incredible cross-platform playability. And we're going to be able to use those same tools, and it is at the hands of the platform holders more than it is for us to determine whether or not cross-platform playability is accessible. We can make it happen. It's up to PlayStation and Xbox and Windows and Nintendo to tell us whether or not those markets are allowed to play together, because it's their platforms and they get to do what they want with them.
Okay, I have another really good one. Are you guys allowed to discuss your monetary situation? We know that we're doing Patreon, but it's not going to cover the overhead, which you are correct.
Oh yeah, that's.
Has there been any
absolutely.
talks with publishers, investors to acquire funding?
We've done a little bit of shaking trees just to see what investors are interested in and whether or not it's us. We've had some positive feedback that has ultimately ended with where you guys are too early along in development for us to be interested in working with you, which is totally understandable because we are very early on in development. We have plans for how we're going to ramp up our development as things begin to bottleneck because of our team size and our ability to work on it. In a nutshell, we're working on it because Patreon isn't going to get us there very quickly. The wonderful thing about this project and about this team is that if that never happens, nothing is going to stop us from keeping working on the game. And we already have as you're going to see later, we have a gameplay environment that works. So there is technically nothing stopping us from running this game's development on whatever budget Patreon gives us forever. It's just going to keep it really small. But that's like one of the joys of not having to pay rent for an office and not having to pay insurance on renting an office and keeping up with OSHA regulations because nobody's coming into work every day, is that we have the freedom to develop without all that overhead. And that means that if we put out a game that feeds a small community of dedicated players that are willing to keep our overhead covered, then we can keep the game running out for as long as it takes. It's just when we hit the point where we can start bringing in investor funding or publisher funding, we can ramp up development and make things faster.
A really good question that some people have liked, Fancy. If Sony disallows crossplay, but the others are fine, will you still go ahead and port to Sony, but also make it basically not deny PS4 users and just have the rest cross-platform and PS4 on its own?
So, in like the broadest theoretical sense, I would like everybody to be able to play. If a platform holder does not allow cross-platform multiplayer, then that mostly comes down to being a business decision. What does the potential market look like? Can it sustain itself? And is it viable for us to do? Like, if there are if it looks like there are 10 people on PlayStation that want to play our game, like, it's going to be tough to justify the process of platform certification, and because like we can develop for it, but we also have to get published on the platform, which has a series of submission and verification requirements. Like, you can submit a working game, but if your pause menu doesn't have the right icons for the buttons, they won't let you publish. And submitting to get cleared for that publication costs a big chunk of money. Last I checked, it was several $1,000s just to say, can I please put my game on your platform, Mr. Platform Holder? So that, like, it's a business decision. But if the market is there and if the people there want to play it, like, yeah, we'll put it out. Hopefully the weight that Epic is throwing around with Fortnite is pushing things more in the direction of integrated cross-platform play, because I think that it's just better. But yeah, so that's that. What do we got next?
We had a good question about our upgrade abilities and whatnot, talents and upgrades. Like
Okay,
Gigantic.
what was it? Will it be like Gigantic? Very similar. We liked the system a lot. So our development plan right now is to focus on getting fun base kits that tick all the boxes for how we want a character to work in the most basic sense. Like, the way I see it is, if you have a base kit that isn't fun to play, you don't have a good character. So we're working on a set of base kits that work really well together and play well in a game environment, and getting a couple of game modes and maps online, and then rolling back around to how we do our upgrades and whether we think there are any major changes that need to get made to the systems that we're familiar with, or if we can just move forward with something that everybody already recognizes.
All right. Yeah, we're gonna be showing some stuff generic.
Yeah.
Trent's been fielding the questions pretty well. We've been asked if we're gonna make a Bastion-like hero.
So
HK.
I liked HK a lot personally. I know that not everybody did, but I'd rather make characters that a lot of people love and a lot of people hate than make a bunch of characters that everybody just sort of goes, it's all right. Yeah.
Well,
so
we actually do plan on showing you guys a brand new character today, though.
Oh, do we? Yes, we do. That's really cool. That'll be coming up a little later.
Oh, Big Boy has a question. Do you guys plan on doing a single player mode? Which we actually got asked that question inside the Q&A that we posted.
So I'm going to pull up my canned response to that question, because we already got it, and I'm going to read it to you as soon as I find it. Have you ever considered adding a story campaign to Project Stamina? We have considered it. There are a lot of cool designs that we have in mind for a progressive storyline throughout the game. However, projects like these take a lot of development resources away from our core experience, which is competitive online play. So in short, we have ideas for it, but it would take a lot of funding and development for us to do it, and a frankly really compelling market study to push us in that direction once we have our core game mode online. So we have some ideas, and we also have some cool ideas for how to drive the story of our game world forward through the progression of people actually playing in matches, and how those battles tie into the larger story of our world. Again, Lawyer says I can't talk too much about lore, so that's all I can give you for now.
Let's see. PvE boss specific mode. Oh, go ahead, Falco.
Sorry. Here's one by Digital Nova. Will there be multiple game modes, or will it be focused on the same similar system to Gigantic?
So the game mode that we have been working on is a new and novel thing that peels back some of the added complexity of, you have this giant monster that you need to kill, and you can only hurt it at certain times, and you have to defend yours, and then one of the things that I remember from playing Gigantic was seeing new players get into a game and running up to their own guardian and attacking it during rampages, or trying to attack the enemy guardian not during a rampage and getting murdered by it, and sometimes just straight up disconnecting because they didn't understand what was going on. And for us, we recognize that as a player retention problem, because if somebody gets into the game and doesn't understand what's going on, then they're not going to keep playing, and you've lost a potential community member, which is a bummer because it's a great game. So we have a game mode that is a little it's a team deathmatch with a few extras to make it a little bit more interesting and objective based, and we're using that as a ramp up game mode to get people more comfortable with the complex and unique systems of our game without piling everything on at once.
Will there be a fortune card like system? I think Falco might want to answer that one.
Short answer is yes, but different.
Yeah, what he said. Also, let's see. Somebody was asking about the new player experience.
Oh, yeah. Was there a specific thing? Did I cover it with my conversation
the
about...
on-ramping experience.
Yeah.
You basically did, but we really, really understand the problems Gigantic had. It really didn't teach you or show you anything that your character could do, specifically. And we aim to try and help new players really understand how their characters work and how the modes work in a easy to see way. So it will be something we focus on as we develop the game for sure.
Let's see. Is there a concern that the ramp-up game mode might become more popular and become the new standard? That's kind of a champagne problem. Like, oh no, we made something and people love it. What do we do? We change the priorities of ranked match. Like, if everybody's playing this game mode and they love it, then we've done something right, as far as I'm concerned.
Asking if they're going to be bots and PvE.
That kind of falls into the same realm as single player mode. It's something really fun. I like the so I play Dota 2 a lot, and I personally really enjoy their team PvE community event game modes that they release. I think they're really fun. I don't think that they're necessarily a complete game experience, but I like them, and I would love to see something like that wind up in Project Stamina eventually.
Generic actually has a good question.
Yo!
He wants to ask some questions about, does it have the same fluidity as Gigantic had, like the heroes? Then do you guys plan on improving the mobility of heroes? And last, do you design your maps around mode? I can answer that one after you're done those first ones.
Okay, how would we describe the game? I've worked in marketing. I think that having an elevator pitch is one of the most fundamentally important pieces of being able to pitch, being able to sell, or win somebody over on anything, whether it's a game or a company or a can of soda. You need to be able to describe it. And what I've been describing Project Stamina as is a third-person action MOBA. So it hits the movement of being action-oriented. It hits the progression and diversity in character progression elements. And that question scrolled away, and I missed parts of it. Does it have the same feel of fluidity? I think it's really similar. Do we plan on improving the mobility of heroes? I did feel that some of the heroes in Gigantic were a little bit immobile, and it made them hard to play at a competitive level. And we have some thoughts on how we can tweak that system to make more kit designs viable while still keeping that really amazing level of verticality and movement throughout a map that made Gigantic so much fun and really makes this genre an amazing thing. How are you going to design maps around your mode? I would just say carefully and well, but I think Trin has a better answer, or at least a more robust one.
Alright, so basically we are designing the mode before we actually build the map, per se. So we want to make sure that we have all the check marks that we want to put in the map already set out in front of us before we even get into it. Then we build the map, and then we add all that fancy stuff and see how it is. Sorry, add all the fancy stuff, and then lots and lots and lots of testing.
Yeah,
that's the short answer. I didn't want to get into a long-winded one.
So there are 3 questions in a row, and I'm just going to try and tag them all real fast. Will it be possible to have a CPU replace a player during matches when they leave it? Yes, it's possible. That's a lot of AI and scripting programming to do. So it's definitely a far in the future benchmark, but there's nothing that says that we can't do it other than time and effort. Gigantic had some imbalances in the map, especially for different characters. What are your ideas for balance between maps and characters? One of the things that I think is a really incredible design and balancing tool are universal mechanics. And it's something that... So in a lot of MOBAs, every character has access to the same items. This is an example, not an exact literal discussion on what we're going to do. Characters have access to items that give every character similar options, and balancing those universally accessible systems gives more diverse kits more access to abilities that flatten out the power curve of the game overall and give you more options to play your character the way that you want to play it and interact with the map in the way that you feel is most effective. Follow-up, few games successfully integrated melee characters with ranged. Do you plan on doing the same thing, where what melee characters lack in range they make up for in combos that allow them to keep the pace of ranged heroes? Yes. Jump attacks to the back slowing is a really powerful mechanic that we are planning on carrying through, because it's such a great fix to ranged characters can get away and do damage. And we really like the idea that melee characters can get on top of somebody and stay on top of them and be a threat without just somebody bunny hopping away and shooting them to death.
Falco actually has a really good question that she found.
Great.
And I have one more I wanted to get answered. Are you planning to offer multiple translations for the game?
Planning? Yes.
Okay, cool. All right, that's one. Okay, so the other one is, will character roles be more loosely defined than tank, DPS, or healer? Will there be team roles, example, support/jungle?
Yeah, so we are tweaking how abilities get looked at just a little bit to design them specifically for our game. And we like the idea that a character could be played in multiple directions. So in the competitive sense, say we have a big enough roster that drafting is a viable competitive game mode, and you pick a character that has a really strong, you pick a DPS character that has a really strong counter, and they counter it, rather than your character just being a dead pick, you have the option to take your character down a different path to make them more supporty, or to build yourself to defend against the counter and still be kind of effective, but because you need to, say, get your ranged DPS away from a really mobile assassin, you're taking upgrades that make you more mobile at a sacrifice of some of your damage output, are some of the philosophical directions. And for the random solo queue experience, if you pick an aggressive damage frontline melee, and then the whole rest of your team picks ranged DPS and squishy casters and supports, then you will have an option to upgrade your melee DPS character in a more tanky direction, sacrificing some of that damage to let you play more of an absorbing damage frontline role. Is the intention.
Baku has a good one. Baku
all right.
Baku draw things. When it comes to art direction, how does that play into game design? Do you come up with game idea, characters, maps, or any element of the game first, then design visuals to fit your ideas, or does it sometimes work in reverse with visual designs inspiring new ideas on how a character / map and what you might have play?
Man, I could talk for like a solid hour on that before handing it over to Failco for an equal amount of time. The fusion of aesthetics and mechanics is one of the things that I think is so unique to games as an artistic endeavor, and also as a technical endeavor, because in a lot of ways games are both like they are technology and they are artistic expression. And our character design process, it focuses. So for me personally, this is not how everybody on the team works because we all have input. But for me personally, I really pursue a form follows function ideal. I think that the mechanics, like if you have no idea what the mechanics are and you sink a ton of resources into creating art for a character, then you've got this huge pile of you've got this like huge amount of resources dedicated to something that you then have to figure out how to make work in the game. But that's not to say that as a character is developing and a kit is becoming defined, then as the artistic development happens, that doesn't inform directions that you can take specific parts of the kit. It all ties together. And yeah, there are a lot of
We'll be getting
a lot of requests to see the gameplay, and yes, Generic, we will be showing you those sweet Paragon minions pretty soon. Because again, we're using open source placeholders to get our gameplay in place, because that is the most important part. And if you hadn't noticed, art takes a lot of work, and we only have so much time.
Let's see. There was a good one. How do we plan on advertising and promoting the game? And yeah, and there's a lot of competition for this type of game. He really wants to know how this project will overcome the same obstacles that Gigantic faced with not gaining enough word of mouth.
Well, for one, we're going to have a name that you can actually search for on Google and find it. We have a name. Again, I can't say anything. Lawyer says that, like, of everything, that is the thing that I can share with you the least. It just is what it is. And yeah, I mean, so I have a fair chunk of marketing experience. Our marketing director has been working in digital marketing for about 10 years, maybe a little more. And I think one of the big stumbles that we're really looking to avoid is to create a huge swell of attention and momentum and then not have a game to deliver. We aren't going to like start really pushing our game out there until we actually have a product that people can download at home and play.
I actually forgot. T. Wolfman had a question that can add on to this a little bit back.
Okay.
I forgot to mention. We'll be doing PAX and some of the other indie game conventions at some point.
At some point, yeah. We don't have a schedule for that yet. We're still really happy to be sharing this game with you, our, like, frankly, in the gaming universe, still rather small collection of dedicated, like, fans and followers, and we love that we're putting this out here and that you're here asking us questions. We're not at the place where we like want to be showing this off. Like, we don't have our real name. Project Stamina is not the name of the game. It's our development title. And there's just a lot more that we want to put in place before we really start pushing it out to the broader public. As people trickle in and this community grows, it's going to keep getting bigger, but we're sticking with this, like, already fairly powerful word of mouth that we're getting through you, our fantastic community. before we go for any big marketing pushes. So right now we're just building up a marketing budget is the short answer after that very long answer.
I think we can... If there's any other good questions, let's take one or two more. And then we'll move on to Fan.
Or do you want to end with that?
No, let's go with that next. And
Okay.
there's also another thing along with it that they'll be able to see.
Okay.
Sidebar, SoFetch is an awesome person.
Yeah.
I really enjoy talking with and enjoying the content produced by. What is our thoughts on turret heroes? They're fine.
Kill him with fire.
I mean, not a character that will just sit there and fire at you and that's all they do. That is no.
Yeah.
I'm not a big fan of that. But who knows about a hero that uses a mechanic similar to HK's? It has to be mobile because that's the whole point of all of our heroes. So it won't be a character that just sits there and fires bullets at you for only. Anyway, sorry. Keep going.
Release on Steam. Fancy?
Not against it. Steam is doing Steam is the big fish in the game publishing pond, so not publishing on Steam is denying ourselves access to a lot of players. I really like what Discord and Epic are doing with their game stores. I am particularly excited about the potential of landing on those, but I don't see Steam going away, and I don't see Steam losing its large chunk of market. So yeah, we're going to push to be on Steam eventually. About resources. Will stamina be the only one, or will certain characters have unique resources? How will resources interact with movement and abilities? This sounds like an excellent segue. Don't you think?
Yeah,
I thought you froze for a second. Okay.
Oh, no, I just held very still.
Into the fan?
Into our character that uses a unique resource.
Okay, so I will switch it to... I think it is this one. Boom, okay. And that is the launcher that we're currently working on, guys. Ta-da! It's not entirely complete. There's still a lot of bells and whistles that we're adding to it, but for now...
But check it out. We got a launcher with a play button.
And it actually launches the game.
And we're going to hit that button in a little bit. We want to show you... It's such a perfect segue. So we want to show you this character that we've got coming out.
Okay, so what do you want me to start with? The face? Falco? Which image first?
What's that? Let's do the top one there.
But no, this character is R4. We've showed this character already. That's a silhouette, but we've showed this character.
R4.
So this is the face of development name Fan.
She's so beautiful.
Yeah, we'll go through some more images and we'll start talking about her. So which one next? The faces?
Yeah, let's do the faces next and then the reveal.
Okay.
She does not use fans. It's a ploy. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, so Fan is our first humanoid character that is going in the game. Some people have been asking us whether or not we're going to put people in the game. And yes, we are. Here is one. This is an expression sheet. Part of the character design process is finding and defining their personality. And part of that is just, what do they look like when stuff happens? When they're, disappointed in their teammates for diving into a bunch of AoEs or hit with a rock, as one of these is
This is done by our amazing artist, Kezi.
Yeah.
That recently joined us, by the way. Really, really awesome.
And the final.
Yeah, let's reveal it.
And this is what she looks like. Fanfully.
Yeah.
Oh, the puns.
Yep. So, Fan is also our first dedicated support character. The unique resource that we were talking about that is the transition that we went from Q&A to this character. She builds up charges on her LMB that increase the radius of her attack until it hits in a circle all the way around her, and powers up her support abilities on Q and E. Is she a dancer? Are those point shoes? Yes and yes.
She is a dancer.
Why is she called Fan? I'm going to let you figure that one out, King Stitch.
I can't figure it out.
Yeah.
Oh, they are beautiful fans, though.
And that's just her development name, like Fancy said.
Yeah, we do not have a name for her yet, sadly. No leaks yet.
We have some ideas, but like that gets handled by our writer, which this is one of my favorite things to say. Person who was asking about our team's experience earlier. Our lead writer has a master's in creative writing from the University of South Wales, and she is brilliant. She is absolutely brilliant.
Fantasia. Fancy Pants.
Oh, yeah, no, Fancy Pants. That's a perfect name. Not a perfect name. Not for that character.
Well, I hope you guys like that. Do you want me to talk about the kit real quick, or?
Yeah, do you guys want to know more about the kit?
If you guys want to know more about the kit, just say it in chat.
Or spam emotes or
Fancy,
something.
tell
That's
us
how Twitch
about
works.
the kit.
Okay, so the kit was the base concept for the kit was designed by Trinatus, and it went through our review process with Goken, our lead gameplay designer for characters and universal mechanics, whereas Trinatus is focused on map and map mechanics. So we had like 4 or 5 characters submitted for supports, and after reviewing them all, we decided we liked Fan the best. So her abilities are the LMB, the base attack, that as it hits, builds up charges. A right mouse button, which is a lock-on to an ally ability that propels Fan towards them. Have we decided if it's a teleport or a launch yet? It's one of those, like, still messing around to see what we like better.
It's more of a launch. Kind of think of Mercy's launch, but not like Mercy's launch. You go to a hero, but you're not kind of like, flying through the air at them. She kind of jumps to the hero in a sense.
Okay. Will characters have passives? Yes, we're putting things like unique resources in the passive slot so that the design space makes sense for the player. Hey Trent, can you crop my my window a little bit? Now that I'm on a harsh white background, you can see some shadows from my bounce light. So yeah, so she has a move to an ally on RMB, and now, hey there, Amiz, like, it's not Trent's job to be the wordsmith, that's mine. So, and on her Q and E, she has an AoE heal that powers up and depletes the charges from her LMB, and the other button is a like big, it's like a gust kind of thing, a large moving projectile volume that speeds up allies and slows down enemies that hit it for a duration that is improved again by the charges on LMB. And the alt is an AoE cleanse for allies and knockback on enemies.
Yes, that is correct.
Yeah. Will all heroes have passives, or will it only be resource-based champs? No, all heroes are going to have passives. They're not all going to have like wildly complex passives, because then picking up new heroes becomes really, really difficult. But we like the design space that having passives as a universal system opens up. It makes characters with resources a lot easier to design, and it gives a little bit more room to push the direction of to like push the gameplay directions of certain characters without shoehorning it into upgrades. It is almost exactly like what you posted earlier, and we really like that. It's super cool to know that we sometimes have our finger on the pulse of design, as it were. Well, is there a set number of heroes we want to make, or as many as we think will work? Yeah, no, like I love making heroes, and I would love to just keep making cool heroes forever. I love stance-based characters, Noodlebot, and I would be sad if I never saw one in the game. Reinfart asked about armor. Should we go into the scripted QA responses where I have something about that, or should we
just say
hit that playbook? We're going to have armor. It is going to be a little bit more robust than Gigantic's flat 1 armor for 1% reduction system. And Goken and I have put a lot of time into working out the math for how those systems are going to work, and we can talk about those more a little bit later. People are spamming me to hit the play button, so
we can do that.
Let's do that.
And I think, let's see. Sorry, I do need to add game capture and. Oh yeah, I forgot it's on desktop capture, so it actually works fine. Or not?
What did you do?
I broke it. Oh, there we go.
Do we? My video is super delayed, so I can't see it yet.
Yeah, no, it's up. It's
up. There we go. All right. I should probably join everyone in game. Or do we have enough people online that I can just watch you guys play and talk about it?
In the background.
Okay. Then yeah, I'm just going to watch you guys play and talk about it while you do it.
Alright, so everyone that is going to be queuing up should be queuing up soon. Social Crypticos.
Oh, yeah, by the way, we've been putting a ton of work into putting a UI together. I'm glad you like it.
Only a little bit of work.
I swear, you two are working when I wake up in the morning and still working when I go to bed at night, getting this thing put together. This UI is almost entirely the handiwork of Failco, making it all look pretty, and Trinatus, making sure it actually functions in-game. So...
Cootie says hi, Twitch, if anyone sees that.
And
round of applause for Failco and Trinatus for making this pretty UI for everyone to look at.
Thanks.
Who's doing the music?
I thought that was you.
No, I think he meant in general.
Oh.
Plays
can't talk about
Fancy's
that.
beard here. Oh my.
Where? But I like it where it is.
Lunami, invite me to a group. Let's get this started.
Oh yeah, we've got a party system that works. That's really fun and cool and necessary for modern game design. It's just really happy. It makes me really happy to see all of these systems that so many people take for granted actually built and functioning in the game. Because turns out they don't come out of thin air.
Castria, it's 64 gigabytes of RAM.
Don't lie. We are well aware of the 4 gig minimum or the 4 gig max that so many people have on their PCs, and we really want to make sure everyone is going to be able to play our game. So as we continue to build, we keep working on optimization so that as many people as possible can play it.
Oh, someone left the group, or I think it might have. Oh, there we go. Hi. Whoever's... Let's jump into queue, guys. I think we're ready. I think we're all ready. Who made the artwork? The artwork is made by Falco Punch.
Yep, she's art director for a reason. Is there controller support? Not yet. It's something that we've been backburnering for a while. We're going to get back to it when we have the number of kits that we're really happy with testing. But yeah, controller support is definitely on the list of things that we aren't going to do, that we're not going to call the game releasable. I'm not comfortable calling a game in beta until it has controller support, because so many people play on controllers. Like I do. I play melee on mouse and keyboard and ranged on controller. I know that's super backwards, but that's just the way I do it. Yep. Are we planning on adding summonable creatures? We do have a system that we're putting in place for capturing objectives on the map with construct there that fights on your side and gives you power-ups. And it's like half built right now. It's not quite at the place that we want it to be showing it to you yet. But yeah, it's going to be in there in a future update. Let's see. Yep, we've got... Oh, this queue time isn't even that bad. I've waited 20 minutes for a game before.
No, it's
not in ours,
it
but
keeps
in other
resetting.
games.
Dead game, can't find match.
Let's see. What have we explained about the about the world of the game, lore-wise? We have not given you any very specific details, and that's because it's all under tight lock until we get our trademarks and our copyrights. But I can tell you that we did build it with the idea of pushing these small team skirmish battles that take place in the same arenas over and over again as one of the pinnacles of important conflict in our game world. And we sort of built out from there. So, this is longer than most of our
I don't think
queue.
everyone's in matchmaking yet.
Do we have people not in yet? Okay.
Yeah, I think that's what's happening right now. I think someone's AFK.
Grumble cakes.
Give us a second, guys. Sorry about that.
What is that rune thing? That is a spot for something that we're going to tell you about in the future. It's a placeholder for how should I put this? Some of the universal access systems, or some of the universal systems that you'll have access to tweak the character the way that you want to play it. It's something that I've talked about a lot, so I might as well point it out right now. It's the runes. The rune is what we're calling. They will not be available through microtransactions. That would be kind of messed up. They're a core gameplay feature, and it's something that you can add universally to any character that you're playing to augment the way that you play them so that it fits your play style and fits the map and the team comp and the enemies that you'll be playing with and on and against.
I wonder if I missed the queue. I might have missed the queue. I think there might have been 10 people in there already.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That is ridiculous.
Yeah. Let me double check on this.
Reinfart, that is a pretty good guess.
Yeah, as you can tell, we actually do have functioning matchmaking working, guys, so I might have been too slow on actually hitting the queue, so they got into a match before us because I was slow.
Customization options that will only be out of game or lobby. Will you be able to change things when you get in? There are customization options that are only available in game, and as far as whether or not this specific augment is available to change during game is something that we're going to have to test before we make a final call. Right now, our design is that you pick it, and that's the one that you have. But we could see reason to change that if gameplay becomes too linear.
Actually, Crypticos, download the client. It's in there. Queue up. I think we just have 8 instead of 10. I think that is the problem from what we're looking at. If you don't mind. Oh wait, you're at work. Damn.
Huh. All right, I'll queue up and try to keep things going while I play the game.
Okay, all right, we're at 9.
All right. Let me know when the queue pops, because I'm back on the stream now.
We'll do both.
Trying to get Pat in right now.
Sorry for the
Game
wait, guys.
design.
Multiple branches and paths for more customization. Yes, that is one of the things that I really love about this kind of game, is that you can tune a character in the midst of a match to work specifically in the environment and the ways that you want it to.
Oh, there we go. Matt,
Do we have a game?
Yeah,
Great.
we have a game.
Yes. Awesome.
Press accept. Isn't that a sweet pop-up?
Charging battery.
I really like it. I think that all of this is super pretty, and I'm really happy with it.
Okay, so who do we want, guys? You guys want R4 or Quick Draw?
Also, that hero select screen, super in progress.
Yeah, this is very much the... Well, let's put 2 characters on a screen, and... yeah.
Okay, quick draw. Let's go.
Looks like everyone wants to see Quick Draw, so let's go with that.
Lock in. Hype. Quick Draw hype.
I'm locked in. The timer's counting down. Speaking of environment, will they be modifiable? What exactly do you mean by that? Do you mean like in terms of like, do you mean like cyclop walls or like destructible terrains or?
Oh.
And yeah, these are placeholders models, guys. So no
let's go.
T-poses,
Let's do it.
just Paragon model.
Yeah. Yeah. The decision to open up all of the Paragon models for like open source development was a super cool one that I really... We could be using like the Unreal like standard model right now. But we think these guys have just a little bit more personality and are capable of doing a lot of the things that we take that tart that we
I'm sorry,
think
guys. My aim is horrible.
that we really like about like gameplay and animations. You know, we've got a jump attack. We've got they've got fairly dynamic systems built into them, so we can do stuff like animate their heads to wobble when they do dodges. And you know, Trin, next time you die, just show off like how doing jump attacks and how using the animation canceling system to move
dodges.
up and down.
I am on quick draw, so I have no jump attack.
Oh, that's right. Okay. You know what? Let's just run away from the game for a minute. Where are you?
I'm being chased down by Sam. Actually, I can go kill him.
Stop! Oh, he can't hear us right now. Well, I'm gonna hang out in the
Unless
middle of
he's
the
listening to
map.
stream. I want to kill him. I'm sorry. I want this. I need
All
this.
right, fine. Have fun playing our game for a minute. And when you're done, I want to show off how our animation canceling works to like give characters additional mobility, because that is one of the big questions that people have about how this is going to work.
I see ya. All right, let's go.
Great. I'm going. So I can't jump up here. Oh, yes, I can. Not that one. Oh, we're on different teams. Okay, I was looking for green. So yeah, I can jump and then use my jump attack to change my direction, and then use my LMB or my RMB to clear a jump. And it looks a little chunky because we've got just the placeholder animation and a model, but we've got Lunami is an amazing animator who is taking the necessary amount of time to make R4 look fantastic before we put him in the game. And people murdered me. That wasn't very nice.
No, that was me. I ulted you.
Oh, well.
Yeah, her ult's a giant rocket launcher.
Yeah. And
yes, health does auto regen. It's a little slow right now. We haven't really balanced a lot of the stamina regen or health regen. We just kind of like, slap it on there and give it I think they all have a base value right now.
Yeah, one of the things that I think a lot of people who haven't worked in game development don't immediately recognize when they're seeing a game in progress is that things like attack hitbox sizes and health values and like damage and win constraints are like really easily changed, and the difficult part is putting it all together. So what we're doing with this really early, like I've called it before, I jumped on like 20 mines and died. The thing that we're doing with this is really focusing on getting the actual functions in place. Like, does an attack do damage? Great, it's working. Does it do a good amount of damage for game balance? We don't really care yet. We're holding off on committing significant effort to game balance until we have a more robust environment to balance in. And that means a few more characters, that means another map. And that's just a matter of time before we can actually get there. But right now, like we could adjust a bunch of this stuff for balance, but we're just going to have to do it again, so we don't really need to bother.
And my aim sucks. I'm sorry, guys.
This rocket
you guys wanted
really
the range hero, and you picked the guy that doesn't play range half the time. Ooh, hey, I can nuke someone. Hey, Sam.
Oh, I missed my ult. Going for you, Trent. Oh no, that's Turtle. Boy, I want to murder Turtle.
Hey, where's Turtle? I want to murder him too. Oh wait, he's on my team.
He's on your team.
Yeah, he is, isn't he?
Still murder him. Just stand in his way.
Oh well.
Okay, I'm going to just stand in one spot and get myself killed and get back to checking out chat so people can ask me questions and get answers.
Where'd Damon go? Oh, there he is.
See.
I think I might be lagging streaming this.
Does health auto regen? Oh, we asked that one. Yeah, health auto regens. It's at a like borderline comically low rate right now, but the system is in place to change that. But again, just not a big priority for game balance, because what's more important is making sure that matches like start and end.
Sorry.
What else we got? Can we increase the field of view? Do we have that system in place yet, Tren? I know
we haven't really messed with cameras too much. We plan on doing that once we get some of the R4's basic boxed out animations in. We actually start running around with him, which should be soon, we hope. And then we'll start playing around with a lot of camera stuff and getting a good field of view and camera angle.
One of the things that and correct me if I'm wrong here, Tren, because this is one of your projects. One of the things that we're messing around with is unlocking the frame rate, so you aren't just stuck to the one frame rate, which was a big complaint that some people had.
Yes.
Yeah, that's a thing.
Yes, it is.
Yeah, so these are the minions from Paragon. they're really simple little models, but they have all the animations that we need to put our abilities in the game and have it be at least somewhat clear what's going on. Because
Get Rick Trin.
Yeah, I was.
Are headshots a thing? No, headshots aren't a thing. It really restricts your design space as far as what characters look like are concerned. You know, if you have a character with a big head and headshots, then like, oh, they're well, yeah. So headshots are like really restrictive and not exactly what the game is about. We do have a crit system that we're putting together that works much like crit systems in other MOBA games. We're focusing more on the action and the MOBA aspects than we are on the shooter aspects of the game, because that's what excites us more personally. Crits,
I guess
forced crits. Define forced crits, like you build up crit percentage over time and do bonus damage based on the percentage.
Projectiles, have we tested that? Her alt is actually a projectile.
Yeah, so these base shots are hit scans. The ult is a projectile.
Oh, we won.
Woo!
Cool. We have the game end screen coming up in a minute. There it is. I can totally see why you would think that based on what you've seen of the map. It will make a lot more sense as far as MOBAs are concerned when the objectives get put in. We've got spaces for them on the sides of the map and the front and back and the middle. Yeah.
Oh,
have we tested gravity values and arc projectiles? Yes, we have. Quick Draw's mines get the mines and the super jump pad are thrown out as projectiles that activate when they hit the ground. So that's the thing. We don't have any like throwing a flask at a really long range yet, but you know, one character at a time. There's a lot of just getting there that we still have to do, and yeah. So when you say similar speed, do you mean? Oh, go ahead, Trin.
Generic guy tested gravity values on arced projectiles. No, but we plan on doing that sometime soon. I just told him yes.
Oh, I just told him yes. Yeah, Quick Draw's mines are like, they're very short range, but they are like projectiles get thrown out and fall based on gravity.
All right, go ahead. Sorry.
We just like I know you miss Sven. I know you miss Sven so much.
I do miss Sven.
We all miss our favorite characters. But only way out is through. So are we aiming for similar speed? Do you mean like movement speed or time to kill? Because the answer to both is very similar. Like there was a lot that I think Gigantic did really, really, really well, and you know, like there's some things that we think we can improve on, but the movement system was just fantastic, and it doesn't make much sense to mess with stuff that we think is already really solidly designed. Let's see. Oh, said Force Crits. I meant something like how the Crits Krieg worked in Team Fortress 2. You know, the Crits Krieg was a really awesome system, actually. And I really liked that ability. I thought it was a really great twist on the medics, like, oh, point to beam and heal. Like, oh, point to beam and you do twice as much damage. Yeah, that is definitely something that we like. Are we planning on doing it? We don't have any kits in the pipeline to make it. Do we have the capability to make that ability? Yes, that is built into our systems. Should I move on to the canned responses to the questions that we got through our form?
I think we actually answered most of them.
We did get a lot of them, so I'm just going to touch on them so that the people that asked specific questions can hear their questions thrown out there and know that we care. because God, do we care
We'll
about
have
all
another
of you.
match.
Will we? Awesome.
Yeah, we're gonna have another match.
Do I
and
have
you
to
guys
be in
can see
that
our
one?
board.
It was really tough to like follow along with the game and the chat.
No, it's fine.
No? Awesome.
Make sure you're queuing up, Fancy.
All right, logging in, play, team deathmatch. Let me know when the queue pops. I missed that. All right.
Reinfart. I don't think so.
I don't remember that. Oh, I do remember that system. I don't know. I don't remember that being a very particular, like a very popular feature. If it's something that a lot of people want, then we could. Again, like there's a lot that we can do. It just kind of comes down to making the game that the community wants and putting our development resources in the areas that make the most people happy, while still making the game that we think is really fun to play.
Lionstrike has a good question.
Do you intend to make streams like this the new standard for communication? I really like it. I plan on doing more of this.
Well, we actually had a question for the community.
Oh, do we?
This was
Great.
it.
Oh, should we? Yeah, I guess I was thinking about putting up a poll, but by and large, like this amazing turnout is a lot of fun and really exciting. It's a lot of work, like prepping for a stream and sitting down and getting a bunch of people together to show you the game is more effort from us than a text post and a video, but the payoff for you guys is really huge. So expect more of this. We're probably still going to give you like text and video updates and like, here's a new character, here's all the artwork from time to time. But the turnout here has been fantastic, and we're going to do this again. Do we have any planning for this year? Yeah, we have a lot planned. Is that vague enough for you?
There's a lot planned.
Yeah.
There's a lot.
We've got a lot planned in the realm of specific development milestones. I've got a lot going on. There is so much that we have planned to roll out once we get our patent, or not patents, those are an entirely different mess. Once we get our trademark and copyrights back, because we've got 6-8 months of world building and storytelling just kind of building up as a backlog that we can't share yet because we don't legally own our IP, and this is America, and you have to do that because if you share it with somebody and they steal it from you and you haven't actually copyrighted it yet, you're SOL. And that would be a really sad thing to happen to all of our hard work, so we're not taking that risk, no matter how much we love you. Biggest Eureka moment with Project Stamina's development cycle so far. For me personally, that is a great question, Light Dasher. Awesome. For me personally, the biggest oh my god moment came at like week 4 of development. So like the way this started, I've talked about this plenty of times, but I still enjoy it. Trinatus came to me and was like, we need to remake Gigantic. You have the experience to lead this project. What do I have to do? And I said, no, it's going to take years and it's going to suck and we're all going to be miserable and you're going to give up in 6 months. And he said, no, I won't. I promise. What do I do? And I told him to like give me like capsules in a room connected to a network, like playing from different computers. Because if you can't make netplay work at an even base level, then you have no business like trying to design a game like this. If you try and go like maps and characters first, then you're going to hit a wall when you actually get to the networking part. So he came back with the capsules moving around in a room, and I said, okay, now give them attacks that do damage. Just like make little colored hit volumes that reduce a life bar and kill a character and respawn. And I gave him a month for the first one, and he came back in 2 weeks. And I gave him another month for the second project, and I figured that this one would be harder for him to do. And I really, really wanted to discourage him from doing this because it's a lot of work. And yeah, I didn't really think that there was such an amazing community out there, which there is. You guys are awesome. So I figured during this chunk of time that if I came up with another even more difficult objective to fire at him right away, that would make him quit for sure. And so after 2 weeks, which I gave him, or I gave him a month to give me like attack volumes and damage and characters dying and respawning, he also came back with the Paragon model and animations and a kill counter and like life displays and something resembling a functioning stamina system, which were the next objectives that I was going to give him that he didn't even know about yet. And he just came back in half the time that I expected him to do one thing with two things. And I said, well, this guy's really serious, and if he's that passionate, then somebody else out there probably is, and I guess we have to do it.
Fancy.
So that was... Oh, do I have to hit accept? Yeah, I do. No, I didn't get the cue.
Oh, jeez. Uh-oh.
What's wrong?
I think you killed it.
Let's...
Game dev!
Yay.
So yeah, that was my huge Eureka moment. Launching the Patreon was also a really like amazing personal motivation for me. There was I wasn't sure if it was the right time, and I wasn't sure if people would take us seriously if we did it. And our Patreon community has just been absolutely amazing. It's like they all showed up right away. Like we had a collection of fantastic donors within hours of taking the Patreon live, and it was so incredible to see an outpouring of support from our community helping us put this whole thing together. So those were my two big Eureka moments. Yeah, like seeing people, like seeing the community's dedication and seeing my team's dedication are the two things that keep me going every day, and those are two big call-outs of those moments.
He says restart the game. You killed it, Fancy.
Oh,
yeah.
I will.
Hopefully that
relaunch.
Stream too much.
Way to
go. Yeah, like, you know, we've still got bugs. Like, hell, released AAA games still have bugs. Have you ever played anything by... I'm not going to throw shade. Not going to throw shade at established publishers, because not what I'm about. But I could. There's plenty of games out there that still have bugs. And we are getting through those as much as we're getting through everything else. So, yeah, I really appreciate all of you guys hanging out, you know, being patient with the hiccups that we have, because this is a work in progress. And I wasn't gonna say it.
Oh, hey, Cube up.
Oh, Cube up. Okay.
Keep up.
Great.
Cube up.
And Trin, you were right. We should have added a sound effect before the stream. We all flip-flopped on picking out which one, and then we didn't get one in there. But all right, I'll play Quick Draw this time.
And yeah, it's bugged out. I'm actually on R4. For some reason, it goes straight to Quick Draw. It's something we'll have to look at.
Yeah.
There we go.
Yeah. Are we all Quick Draw? I mean,
yeah, it's a meme match.
Oh my god.
Jeez.
Am I the only Quick Draw on this map?
Yep.
Nice.
You weren't paying attention to all chat.
Attack!
Well, I'm going to stand in the middle of the map and die while I hang out with the stream. When is alpha or pre-alpha starting so we can crash the servers? Well, we're in pre-alpha, but as far as like open playability goes, there are a few more milestones we have to hit and a few specific like business and legal concerns that need to get taken care of before we can open the game up to the public. Will there be LAN play? I would love for there to be LAN play. I think that LANs are awesome. I love and miss the like dorm room, friend's basement, whatever, LAN party days.
Oh, those days were so great.
You know, and also as far as you know, like if we're ever going to be esports, we need to be able to be played on a LAN so that everyone can play in that sweet, actually lagless environment. Yeah, it's one more of those things on our list that we want to get to.
Oh, double alt. Wow. Oh my goodness. Hopefully you guys enjoyed that. Oh, there's A-Man. He's almost dead. Come on, guys. Get him.
Where is he?
Let's see.
Oh, come on. Oh, he's trying to juke us,
Hopes
guys.
and plans for tournaments. As far as actually going esports goes, I don't like. It's not really one of my big goals. It would be cool. I think that the opportunity for video gamers to be like professional performers / competitors in a sports environment is awesome, and I really like that platform exists. I don't have a particularly compelling desire to make like the next big esports game, but as far as tournaments go, I think that developer support for tournaments is really important. Part of our one-day budget is, I would like anyway, to be set aside for regular tournaments and tournament winners. That's something that I'm trying to build into the business model as we continue to grow.
Someone clip that. I just killed Falco. That needs to be clipped.
Yeah.
She didn't die last game, so that needs to be clipped, guys. We are very inspired by Gigantic. We're picking a couple of things from a couple of other games that we really like to sort of season things and making a couple of new systems that are entirely new. But yeah, like Gigantic was the inspiration for this game. This entire team, actually that's not true anymore. We recently added our first team member that never got to play Gigantic, which is a kind of cool personal milestone in my book, that our like reach has grown that far. Will there be flying characters, or will we keep things on the majority of the ground or ground level? Well, flight is like a really tough mechanic to balance around. So that's way more a Goken question than it is a me question. Like, I think about how a flying character could be cool, and I'm like, yeah, let's do it. Yeah. And Goken will come back to me and say, yeah, but here's all the ways that it could be horribly broken. And then I have to shelve my ideas again. Key things that we want to improve on. I think that like match progression and like power spikes in Gigantic were a little bit flat, and they led to a really linear gameplay style where everybody just sort of capped out at level 10. And I think that the like armor system and some of the way the tooltips were handled were a little bit also flat. And I didn't like how, personally anyway, and this is something that I've talked with some competitive players about this. I didn't like how
few characters were actually really viable at the high competitive level, and we're going to build some systems to help compensate for that, so that more characters can be viable, and more team competent strategies can be competitive at the highest levels of skill. Was Beckett a flying hero?
Beckett was
had like
weird.
a quasi-flight function that I think was a pretty good take on like something that was like a balanced flight, where you had, you know, extra jumps and limited time in the air.
We won, guys, by the way. 11-2 with 12 assists. Oh yeah.
So
Nicely
not
done.
accurate.
Not accurate. Oh, I guess it isn't, because I know I killed Falco once.
So what you're seeing, McCrector, is our closed test server. That is, do we have a Discord? Yes. You know what? I will actually, hang on. There's down on, this is mirrored, right? Down on this side, there's a button that says Discord, and that should be a link.
Yeah, if someone wants, actually, we'll post the link. Luna,
We
Falco,
don't
you still in
have a
chat?
release date yet.
Yeah, what do you need?
We need a link to Discord. I
There
mean,
it
you
is.
should be able to
Thank
scroll
you,
down, and it should be
Turtleduck
a
Man.
There you
picture
go.
of Discord icon. You should be able to click that.
Yeah, we've got buttons to our social channels down below the video on our
That
on our
button
page.
doesn't work. Yeah.
Yeah. Can you do damage to your teammates in custom modes? That we could make a switch to turn that on. That's not a thing that we have right now. What's the game's
custom
main
modes.
theme?
It's the whole thing is custom.
Yeah,
so
like the whole
we
point
want
of custom
to
is
make it
custom.
so you can truly explore what you do.
Yeah.
Do you guys want another match while he talks? That our testers are asking. Well, sorry, our team and testers are asking right now.
I've been at this for almost 2 hours. My throat's kind of dying.
Yeah.
Yeah, we can end here.
Yeah, I think going through the I'm going to go through the questions that were submitted, just to make sure that anybody that really wanted to have something answered that they cared enough about to ask us in advance gets it done.
Turtle.
Will there be any tank juggernaut bruiser characters is a question that we were asked. R4 already fits in that like bruiser role. He's not a fully fledged tank. We have a design for a tank that is in the works. We will be revealing that character probably pretty soon, along with a few other updates
Calling
about
you out,
how our
Fancy.
system is going to work.
They're
What are they calling
you
me out on?
They're throwing shade at you.
Do. Look, I am.
I'm glad you finally noticed.
Okay. That's some good call out.
Reinfart, you get a star for that, a gold star.
Gold star. Well played. Yeah, R4 is a bruiser. We do have a tank that will be revealed pretty soon. Yeah, R4 is about damage and mobility, diving into a fight from an opportune angle and disrupting enemy formations with powerful attacks. He can survive on the front line, but he can't absorb a coordinated assault from the entire enemy team in the way that you would expect a tank to be able to live through for at least a few seconds. Will this game have the same mechanical complexities as Gigantic? Will it include things like animation canceling and combo-focused melee characters? Yes, we've already shown you some of the animation canceling, which, because our animations are pretty rudimentary with those placeholder characters, they don't look like the finished product will, of course, but they are in there, and we saw some of that with R4 clearing really high jumps on the map and changing direction mid-jump with jump attacks, and then canceling those jump attacks with the RMB leap to get a little extra distance. The movement and freedom of movement of Gigantic is what really drew us to this genre, and it's one of the design pillars of our game, is that freedom of movement and that level of unique complexity and playability.
Oh, fancy.
Yo!
Do you want to go over the new contributor stuff? We can't forget about that.
Oh, yeah, so there have been
That's
a lot
gonna
of
be
questions
post later on today,
about...
right?
Yeah, there have been a lot of questions about getting involved with the test team and making the game playable. So we, pretty early on, posted a contributor application, which is how we have collected our entire team so far. It has surpassed 150 applications at this point, and it's Trin's job to dig through them every time we want to add somebody new to the team. And that's a lot of work. So we are updating those. We have new applications for unique roles with some descriptions about the roles and what you can expect. As we've grown, our needs have grown, is the short version. And so those are going to go up on our Discord. And if you Google Project Stamina, the last I checked, the top post or the top search result was a Reddit post about that original contributor application form.
Hey,
we're going to go back and edit that to have the new ones in there instead so that it's easy to find. But if you want to Wolfman, if you want to go join our Discord, there will be an at everyone about it sometime this week.
You get the cue?
So let's see. What term will you be using for your characters? Heroes, champions, fighters, travelers, etc. We're still kicking that one around. That's a question for our writer more than it is for me. I like a lot of the options that have come forward, but none of them have really rung as that's the exact, that's the one that we want. Yeah, so Staminites.
Did you remember to hit Q this time?
Oh, no, I did not. I forgot that.
It's gonna knock us out, guys.
Yeah, my bad. I'm breaking the game. It's not the game's fault, it's mine.
That's all right. That might be enough, I think.
Yeah, that probably is
two
good.
matches. Yeah.
Yeah, our testers have stuff that they need to do. Will there new players to help understand the core mechanics of the game? Yeah.
Oh, never mind. We're in.
Tutorials are important, and getting people onboarded into games. So I'm I play Dota and I play fighting games, and those are some of the hardest genres to get into once you want to start learning the technical process behind them. And I remember digging through websites for frame data in my fighting games just so I could figure out whether or not my character was allowed to do stuff, and I never really liked it. And it is one of my personal endeavors as a game designer to make sure that nobody has to repeat that process. Do we only have these two characters right now? Yeah.
Well, we have Fan in the works, but she has a game-breaking bug right now.
Yeah, Fan has some of the abilities in place and a press this button to mess up the whole game for everyone. So she's not in this test because we want things to look, at least reasonably nice for you. But yeah, in the future, we're going to have some more coming out. We've got 2 scripted for development. Fan is half done, and we've got some more designs in the works. The thing that really slows us down is, well, in the long run, the thing that's really going to slow us down is the modeling and animation process. There is just so much more work that goes into animating a character than there is in assembling a functional kit. So churning out placeholder characters doesn't take that long, but getting the art behind them so that we're sure we know how this character all goes together is what's really time consuming. How is team morale? You guys are pretty much doing this on your free time, so I wonder how you managed to not get the project stale. One of the really amazing things about having this large team of people with focused roles is that there's always something going on, and we've got enough redundancy in our team that when somebody needs to take a break, it doesn't halt development. And the process, so one of the biggest struggles that a lot of indie developers run into is, if you've got a team of 4 or 5 people and you all get tired and you take a week off, then you've got a whole week where development hasn't progressed in the slightest, and it's hard to get the gears moving. But at this point, we have so many people who are dedicated that if at any
what?
given time, 5 or 6 people need to take a couple of days, a week, hell, even a month off, there's enough that still keeps going on that it's really easy to get right back into things.
Get away from me!
Morale, like team morale on the whole, has been really fantastic. That's not to say that we aren't without our occasional like grumbles and miscommunications and frustrations, but that's like anything that any group of professionals has to deal with. And the fact that our volunteer team is dealing with it all so well is really a testament to how much everyone cares about this project and wants to see it get made.
Oh, damn it! I lived so long!
Everyone turned on Falco right there.
Are we going to have descriptions of how status effects work? Yes, and it's like one of my, again, personal goals. A lot of this kind of comes down to design and UI, but I would really like to see a lot of that stuff get handled not only through like in-game parsable tutorial / like written this is how stuff works section, but also be handled a little bit better in tooltips, so that when something says like does damage and slows, it instead says does X damage and slows for this % for this amount of time. How long did what take to set up? That is not a very clear question. I'm going to go back to the previously submitted questions. Let's see, so mechanical complexities, we did talk about that. So just to loop back to something earlier, we're taking some inspiration and adding some unique designs to things that we felt were a little bit lacking in Gigantic's technical and competitive depth, mostly surrounding the areas of progression, armor scaling, and character stats. The backstories of characters was the question. Characters are getting their own backstories. They're also having those backstories tied together, tied to the game world. We've released like a tiny tidbit of game lore in a post on our Discord, and that does detail the origin story of one of our characters, but it's not what you think. But when we tell you more about it, it will become really clear. So, yeah. Are you planning on making any crazy hard characters? The kind that this question asker really loves to try and master. Yes, we do like characters with incredibly high skill ceilings and reasonably high skill floors. If every character was similarly simple to play, then there wouldn't be as many rewards for people who like digging into technical complexity. The trade-off there is that if you want a character to be really, really hard, the rewards have to be there to make that character compelling and interesting to play. And you run into the difficulty of balancing somebody that can do a whole lot really well at a high level. Because if there's one thing that working in competitive game development has taught me, it's that no matter how difficult or obscure you make a technical requirement to do something, your high-level players will figure out how to do it consistently, and exploit it.
May I add to that slightly?
Absolutely.
Fan, the hero that we actually just released, not released, but that we were going over earlier, her kit is based on a simple kit, but yet it's complex in a way where you can play it at any level, but if you really want to pull everything out of that kit, it's all about timing and thinking about what you should do, when you should do it. So it was built for both just high-end gameplay and low-end gameplay.
Yeah, Fan.
And sorry
like,
about the lag, guys.
We can't talk about Fan in particularly concrete terms because we can't show you because her kit's not fully implemented yet. But the idea that we were going for was to have a support character that immediately gave a new player a clear understanding of overall strategy and gameplay direction, and then building enough complexity into the kit for high-level characters to really pull off some impressive plays.
Good job, guys.
Let's see. So that's that. Yeah, and like, quick shout out / reminder to everybody out there. Goken and Failco Punch were both some of the best competitive gigantic players to ever grace this beautiful earth on which we live. And they're both heavily involved with our development. Like, they're going to do a great job making sure that our characters are interesting, are competitively viable, and are not broken, but still fun and difficult. Will there be more stuff about the story? I think I've said all I can about that. Is the art design going to be similar? Yeah, I think fan is a really great representation of what we're doing. The tagline that I go for, because again, I've worked in marketing, I think that making sure that you have like compelling taglines is important, is going for a look that can be described as Legend of Zelda: The Wind Waker has a baby with a Disney Pixar movie. But again, I'm not the art director. That's just that's how I like to talk about it.
Iowa 29. We're not having network problems. We haven't actually ran into any network problems. I've had Unreal Engine open for about 4 days on my PC, and it's kind of leaked a little bit. So I'm running around 98% RAM at the moment. So any lag is due to that. Fancy can go over how well our systems have been working so far, though.
Pretty great. Like they're not without the
all the way across everywhere else.
Yeah. Oh yeah. So like because our team is big and is fairly big and all over the place. We've run some internal tests with me on the west coast of the United States. A lot of our team is on the east coast. So me, a bunch of people from the east coast, the UK, Germany, and Australia, all connecting to the same server and playing a game without running into serious with connectivity and lag. That's like the biggest standout of a particular event that I can think of for the game working really well over a network. Somebody just asked how we're all doing. That was very kind. Great, thank you. How are you? Let's see. We had
we should probably finish this up soon, though, Fancy.
Yeah. I just want to make sure that we get to all these questions. We had a couple of questions about. A lot of people seem to be really interested in why we're using Unreal instead of Unity. This is another thing that I could talk about for hours. I've written a couple of short articles that touch on this a lot in our Patreon, just because people are curious about that kind of thing there. And I'm going to keep it short, but Unreal is the engine to go to for online multiplayer. C++ is a much faster and more efficient language, and the issues that Gigantic ran into largely stemmed from being written for Unreal 3, which was a decade old by the time that Gigantic started development, and Unreal 4 is incredibly modern and has addressed a lot of the fundamental issues that led to some of Gigantic's challenges. To be frank, I don't think that this project would be possible at this scale were it not for Unreal 4 and the developer support that they have been rolling out, and the incredible weight that being on Unreal lends to any project because of, frankly, the success of Fortnite and how many systems are now available for developers to piggyback onto because of that game's success. So yeah, I wrote like a 2.5 page answer about why Unity, but or why Unreal. But it's long and technical, and I think everybody is pretty tired. I know it's dinner time for my friends on the west or on the East Coast. So with that, thank you one more time for being here, for tuning in, for asking your questions, and for lending us your support. We're so grateful. Like, we would be doing this no matter what, but it wouldn't be anywhere near as much fun without all of you encouraging us to keep going. Light of Hope, your username is so apt for all of this. We've had a blast, and we'll do more of this in the future. This was really fun, and it's a great way to connect with you all. And this game is really about the community as much as it is about the game, because we're all...
This game originally, everything that I originally thought about when I was coming to Fancy was the community. You guys make the game. Every single one of you. We may be putting our time into it, but you guys are truly what makes the game.
Yeah, game's no good without its players, and like I've been in gaming communities my whole life, and the gigantic community was the best thing that I ever experienced in the game space. And the idea that could disappear with the stroke of a server disappearing was tragic to me. So this game is as much about bringing this community together as it is about making it. I mean, like, for us now, we're making a game that we want to make, and there's too much steam in our engine to stop if we wanted to, but we don't want to, because it's a lot of fun and it just keeps getting better. But we're making it for you as much as it is for us, and having you all here is why we're doing it. So thank you so much, all of you. And
thank you guys.
Have a good night or morning for those of you on the other side of the world. Thanks for tuning in.
Thanks, guys.
We'll see you again.
Thanks, guys.